Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Well. For once on SmackDown, the women surprisingly shine tonight. The first show post Crown Jewel, where we have a part-time Universal Champion and a part-time United States Champion who likes playing Little Spoon to his title. Well, that's not true. He was not Little Spoon to the title. Anyways, who likes to take a picture of him in the shower with his U.S. title. Disgusting. Another reason to dislike Logan Paul. And I refuse to still drink his prime. I still refuse to do it. But yeah, the first show for SmackDown with two part-time champions, not even on the show, probably have nothing to do with Survivor Series. Somehow, they pulled off one of the best episodes of SmackDown, in my opinion, in a while. And it was headlined by the small women's division on SmackDown that absolutely shined on this show. It was the best thing about this show. And also, it kept me busy. You know how we didn't really have many turn alerts for a while? Well, this week alone, I've already done 2. I'm going to do 2 more after this show. So yeah, SmackDown, you kept me busy. I would have started last night, but I had to get up early today because I was going to go to work for a couple hours, work a couple hours of overtime. So I didn't get to do it until now because I just got home a while ago from a party. But here I am, going strong, excited to talk about this episode of SmackDown. So what is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and this is my review of SmackDown from the November 10th, 2023 edition of SmackDown, and it took place in Columbus, Ohio, the hometown of Alexa Bliss, who is, of course, not too far off, I think, from giving birth to her baby. Also, congratulations goes out to Corey Graves and Carmella. Meant to post about them as they gave birth to their son this past week. And Corey Graves was not at SmackDown this week as he deserved the time off to be with his wife. And Kevin Owens filled his spot on commentary. And he was hilarious on commentary. I enjoyed Kevin Owens doing commentary. Coming out in his normal wrestling attire with a random tie on. But yes, Corey and Carmella, I'm definitely very happy for them, especially since Carmella went through 2 miscarriages like a year or 2 ago. I'm finally glad to see. I mean, she was blessed with 3 children when she married Corey Graves. Because Corey had kids from previous relations, but this is the first one Carmella had of her own, and I'm very happy after all she's been through for her and Corey to finally have a healthy baby together. So I'm happy for them. But yeah, Alexa Bliss think is due sometime soon, I believe, for her child. So hopefully we'll be seeing that good news very soon as well. And like I said before, great episode of SmackDown. Again, by far, in my opinion, one of the best episodes of SmackDown in quite a long time. Definitely the best since Triple H regained control of SmackDown. Again, we are 2 weeks from Survivor Series, which is today. Hopefully tonight or tomorrow, I will finish my Survivor Series printed match card, which again, as I said in my Raw review, I'm going to have 2 matches. I know a lot of people are going to say, what the heck are you doing, man? Because again, I mentioned one of them is going to be CM Punk and Shinsuke Nakamura. Yes, I'm still not going to 100% believe CM Punk is showing up in Chicago. But as I said before, with how much of an effort I'm going to try to put in to try to get to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year, I'm going to go a little all out. I'm going to say Survivor Series is also going to consist of CM Punk and Shinsuke Nakamura. And this one probably won't happen. Like, I'm more confident that CM Punk... I think, well, not to say more confident. I do believe if I had a choice of what's going to happen more, I keep thinking CM Punk and Shinsuke Nakamura is more likely going to happen than the other match I'm going to predict. The Rock and Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. I'm going to predict that match to happen as well. Based off of recent things we saw with the segment with The Rock and Austin Theory just a few months ago. And, of course, The Rock and Survivor Series have a history as well. So, I'm going all out with it. So, I know I'm going to get a lot of heat when I put out those predictions. But like I said, it's me going all out and trying to do something crazy. But we're going to roll with the SmackDown review and talk about it. Like I said, the SmackDown Women's Division. I've been saying for the past month or two how much momentum the Raw Women's Division picked up. This week, the SmackDown Women's Division picked up as well. With Kairi Sane coming back, with a new stable being formed, a storyline, a direction for Damage Control that I'm actually interested in. And of course, again, they could also possibly... My prediction this past week of the idea of WrestleMania possibly being Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair. Well, that may not quite... Well, here's the thing. There still could be a chance they do Jade Cargill and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, but no title involved. Which, again, if that's the plan for Charlotte going to WrestleMania with no title, I'm interested. Because like I keep saying, Charlotte Flair just has to do more in order for people to regain more respect for Charlotte Flair. I still think, there's people there who still love Charlotte Flair, and I still love Charlotte. But as I keep saying, a woman who just comes back just to get title shots, takes breaks, and then comes back again just when she's going to get title shots. That's gonna make me not want to be interested in what she's doing. But if she does these non-title feuds, like she could still do a non-title feud with Bianca Belair, which, by the way, it's starting to look like they're probably not gonna have Bianca be the one to join Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits unless it's a swerve, because they're teasing B-Fab and maybe Ashante the Adonis join them. Even though if they're going to do that, my thing is, well, why not just have Cedric Alexander do it instead? That way, kind of like, if this is like a Hurt Business 2.0 thing still, why not have Cedric join him instead, you know? But, we'll talk about him as well. But yeah, like I said, if you do these non-title feuds with Charlotte, I can get behind that. I can see them doing Charlotte and Jade still at WrestleMania, even without the title involved. But I think I'm seeing the direction they're going for SmackDown. The only thing is, though, is the person who's going to be the babyface at WrestleMania, I think they have to get more sympathy on them first. Just saying. But we're going to roll through. We're going to talk about it. So this show, again, took place in Columbus, Ohio. We open up first with Kevin Owens making his entrance, being announced as special guest commentator for the evening. Rey Mysterio and the LWO come out. Rey gets on the mic, talks about Logan Paul stealing the U.S. title and going to the shower with it. We know the decision's final, but he believes Logan could not have beat him if it weren't for the brass knuckles. Now, everyone from LWO came out except for Carlito. Well, Caribbean Cool then comes out. He says, Rey, you're blaming the wrong person. It's not Logan. The person who is responsible for your loss is Santos Escobar. Reminding us that, and again, I still like the way it was shot at Crown Jewel, where it looks like that you saw that Santos left the brass knuckles. But it also looked like you weren't supposed to notice it as easily. I think it was very well done. But sure enough, Santos did put the brass knuckles back on the apron when he was chasing down Logan's crony. So Santos and Carlito then get heated with each other. And then they break them apart, and then Escobar storms off through the crowd. And then Ray's trying to follow him. He's like, Santos! Santos! Bobby Lashley then come out with the Street Profits, and then we have the opening match, which was advertised. Bobby Lashley versus Carlito. It was a solid match. It was kind of overshadowed by everything else going on around it, though. First off, like I said before, we see a backstage segment with B-Fab, which I, for some reason, mixed up B-Fab with Jade Cargill last week. And B-Fab was the one who wanted to talk with Bobby Lashley last week. So I guess B-Fab is going to be the female member. I mean, I still think it should be Bianca Belair. Because, I'm sorry, Bianca really needs that heel turn. But, of course, now with what we got on this show, there might not be any room for her to be a heel on SmackDown. Maybe a little bit before they turn Bianca heel. But I thought they'd turn her heel so she can be a part of the heel team with her husband. But I guess they're going to do B-Fab. And they also had Ashante the Adonis backstage as well. We're off the chat. And then basically, what's going on? And B-Fab will tell you what's going on. So I guess they're doing B-Fab and Ashante the Adonis joining Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, it looks like. Okay, I mean, I don't hate it. Like, despite the fact the previous weeks for like Raw and SmackDown felt like filler, I do appreciate Triple H kind of giving some exposure and somewhat of a direction for everyone that's on TV. There's a nice, for the most part, roster rotation going on. You see people like B-Fab, Ashante the Adonis, which again, Top Dollar is gone, so there's no more Hit Row, or Shit Row, as my wife would say, of course. Which again, I do agree, because again, it wasn't working. It was missing Swerve. If Swerve was there, I think it would have worked. But since Swerve ain't here, he's in AEW, killing it. I love what he's doing in AEW right now. He has a killer theme song as well I'm addicted to. I think it would have worked. But if this is a different direction for them and it works, cool. My thing is I'd rather just see like Bianca and honestly, Cedric Alexander in the group. I'd rather see that, but we'll see what they do with B-Fab and Ashante the Adonis in the group. And of course, the other story, of course, is what just happened with Santos Escobar and Carlito, who just exposed what Santos did at Crown Jewel. But anyways, the rest of LWO come out trying to eat up the odds. Even Santos Escobar did come out. Eventually, though, Montez gets past and runs interference, and Bobby Lashley spears Carlito to get the victory. Afterwards, though, I don't know where the rest of LWO goes. They must have been down. Well, Ray didn't come back out. But afterwards, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits are attacking Carlito. Santos Escobar, though, is just standing on the apron, watching and hesitating. Rey Mysterio then comes down with a chair and runs him off. And then finally, when Rey gets in the ring, Santos goes with him. And then afterwards, whenever Rey goes to treat Carlito as part of the family, Santos goes to leave. But then he comes back in. Well, first Santos and Rey start like kind of arguing a little. Like you hear them say like, you and I were family. It was always about you and I. And then Rey's like, he's family too. And Santos wasn't having it. So Santos goes to leave after Rey shoved him. He's like, listen to me, we're family. But Santos goes to leave. And then Rey goes to check on Carlito. But then Santos gets back in the ring. And it's like, he gets back in, it's like, oh, no. And it happens. Santos attacks Rey from behind. But then, like, At first, I'm like, okay, maybe this is him just having an emotional breakdown. It's not a full-on turn. And we're getting a little more to the story. And then Santos is like, wait, no, I'm sorry. But then Ray then slaps him in the face a few times, and he starts bickering with him. But then they're both on the apron. They're trying to talk some sense into each other. And at first, I think, okay, again, this is a tease, but a pretty heavy tease for Santos turning heel. And then Santos fully snaps and shoves Ray into the ring post. And he falls sitting on the steel steps, and one of his legs is inside the stairs. And then he goes full on heel. He attacks Ray. He kicks the steps into his leg trapped in them. And then he gets up rambling about how it was supposed to be the two of them and how he put this thing together. And how he's his hero. But of course, it wasn't, obviously it's not the thing now. The rest of LWO come out like Zelina's emotional, Joaquin Wilde, and Cruz del Toro, which I'm surprised. I thought when the turn happened, everybody was going to turn on Ray. But I guess for now, it's just Santos. And then we see Santos trying to ignore the interviewer on his way out, but all he says is, Ray had it coming. And he left with his suitcases. So there we go. We have Santos Escobar finally turn on Rey Mysterio. The build, and probably going back to whenever Ray had to fill in for him for his U.S. title spot. Maybe there's some jealousy there or whatnot. But I'm wondering, I feel like this is a program that's going to somehow get to WrestleMania. Which, honestly, I'd like to see. Now, of course, there is Dragon Lee, who was on the show as well, that I want to see him and Dragon Lee. Or, I'm going to say this too. Bring back Kalisto. If there's any way to bring back Kalisto, please do. Because, again, I remember listening to a lot of Chris Van Vliet's interviews, and there was an interview where Kalisto had pitched an idea to Paul Heyman of doing a mask versus mask match with Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. And the loser had to unmask. Honestly, like either this kind of WrestleMania or the WrestleMania after, because the latest rumor I heard is Ray feels like he has about 1.5 years, 2 years left in him. What a way to retire him if they do mask versus mask. And I think Kalisto can do that. Also get Ray in the ring with Dragon Lee, but part of me kind of wants to see, I don't think they'll have a match at Survivor Series. I don't know about Royal Rumble, because I think both Ray and Santos need to be in the Rumble. So maybe a match at Elimination Chamber, maybe, but... Sorry, fixing my chair. It was sagging a little bit. But I kind of want to see them get to WrestleMania. But, of course, we'll see how that goes. So, of course, we had that. One of the big stories of the show. But then the biggest story of the show, again, was the women. We have Bayley coming out. Just alone. And she says she's had a plan for Io and Dakota since the inception of Damage Control. And everything she wanted has come true. From tag titles to the briefcase to the title. Which I am surprised, because you would think that Bayley wants to be the leader. Bayley wants to have her gold as well. But in this segment, they were kind of saying how Bayley said that her goal was to make the best out of these two girls. And it looked like she wasn't like claiming she wanted all the glory herself, but she wanted to build stars. I guess that can kind of start the sympathy, but the only thing I will say, well, let's keep going and I'll explain where I'm going with this. But anyways, she says Io has beaten the best in the business, and it's obviously Io's era. Thanks to her. But then Crown Jewel, even though a lot of the crowd's doing a bunch of what's to her, Crown Jewel should have been Damage Control's finest moment. But instead, Bayley was saying, what? At the return of Kairi Sane. And she said, what happened is not how they handle things. So she asks Io to come out here and talk to her like an adult. But not only did Io come out, but Kairi Sane also came out. And Dakota Kai came out with her as well, who is still not medically cleared to compete. Io tells Bayley that she had a plan too. And you said it's Io's era, right? She has Kairi to thank for helping her retain the title. Isn't that what Bayley wanted, for her to retain the title? And Bayley's like, I want the best for both of us. But the thing is the last time we saw Kairi in WWE, she was eating a beatdown from Bayley, which is how they wrote her off TV, was back in, what was it, June or July of 2020? Because they showed the beatdown from 2020 whenever Kairi was getting ready to leave WWE and she got beat down. Bayley says she knows how things work around here. But then Dakota cuts her off and says they didn't bring Kairi into Damage Control to hurt her, but to make them stronger. They're very grateful for what Bayley's done for them. And all they want to do is just take some load off her shoulders. Dun, dun, dun. May not quite be the whole truth there. But clearly, though, what happened at Crown Jewel worked. So instead of, being concerned, they should be celebrating. Bayley's still resistant because she thinks that Kairi is up to something for revenge. But then Kairi gets on the microphone and says, Bayley, I respect you as the leader of Damage Control. And also, she forgives her. And then I didn't realize until people started saying this on the internet, they also had a tease for Bayley eventually going babyface. Because after that, Kairi offered up to hug Bayley. And Bayley's like, she doesn't hug anymore. But all three of them come in for a big group hug. And a slow smile comes onto Bayley's face. And then Bianca Belair interrupted it. Of course, crowd's going, hug it out, hug it out. Which could again be a tease to Bayley, getting the warm and fuzzy babyface feeling back again, I guess. My only thing about the women, again, let's just say right here. Based off of what else happened in the rest of the show, which we'll get to that towards the end, it looks like the long-term story, I guess what they're going to do is, if they're exposing now that Bayley's whole goal of Damage Control, which it's kind of one of those things where it wasn't working at first, but then, something later on down the line makes everything that just happened that wasn't working, it makes it look like it did work after all. Pretty much. That's the case here. Instead of Bayley wanting cronies to help her be at the top, she was trying to help Io and Dakota get to the top. But now that, Io got the power, now she's basically the monster that Bayley created. And it's probably that typical, I gotta stop the monster I created. So this is probably leading to a title match at WrestleMania between Io Sky and Bayley. This is making Bayley probably one of the favorites now to win the Women's Royal Rumble. Which I'll take. I will take it. If that's a long-term story. Anyways, though, Bianca Belair interrupted the group hug. And she says, Kairi may forgive Bayley, but Bianca don't forgive Damage Control. Her mistake was thinking Io would actually face her one-on-one. But it's cool. She learns from her mistakes, and she'll just have to whoop all three of them. Bayley calls her a sore loser, and Bianca reminds her that not everybody likes Damage Control. Or a lot of people don't like Damage Control. Which brings out Charlotte Flair, and then Asuka. Asuka cut a promo on Kairi in Japanese. And then we were told later on in the show there would be a trios match in the main event. Which was obviously setting up for War Games. But of course, that wasn't it. Then we had match 2 between Dragon Lee and Cedric Alexander. And it was also another awesome spot fest of a match. There was one spot, though, that did kind of scare me. And Dragon Lee went for like a splash on Cedric. And then Cedric, like, passes him and, like, launches him up in the air. And Dragon Lee goes into the turnbuckle, but he almost landed on his neck. It was a little bit of a scary spot, but lots of very fast-paced maneuvers. Great counters, too. Again, these guys have incredible chemistry. I'd say give them a single, well, again, Dragon Lee does won both of them. I would have said try to get a rubber match at a pay-per-view. I don't think it's going to happen, especially not Survivor Series, but they have excellent chemistry. Dragon Lee, though, won. It's made both him and Cedric look great. I still wish they would give a direction to Cedric Alexander, but maybe down the line. They keep postponing Karrion Kross's plans. Keep hearing that they have big plans for him. We'll see, though. We'll see what happens. Then we get a recap of Roman Reigns and L.A. Knight. Yeah! At Crown Jewel. And it looks like still that Roman Reigns will not be at Survivor Series. Which is kind of a shame. But anyways, L.A. Knight comes out and says, "Let me talk to you." He said he did exactly what he said he'd do. Walk into the ring, he took Roman within an inch of the title, dropped him on his head with the BFT, and he would have had him 1, 2, 3 if it weren't for Jimmy Uso. He got robbed. He tells Roman, give Jimmy a raise, give him a promotion, whatever pleasure he can give, because the bottom line is, if Jimmy weren't there, which again, his story is still not making any sense whatsoever now. If he would have been there, he would have became the new champion. So, he ain't done with the bloodline. And the bloodline isn't with him until he owns Roman Reigns and that title. Yeah! And then comes out Grayson Waller, who says LA Knight's blaming everyone but himself. And he needs to be honest, because the truth is, maybe he's just not the guy. But he certainly knows someone who is the guy, and then LA Knight cuts him off and calls him a kangaroo jackass. And then Grayson Waller's like, well, I have a question for you. Do you really think you belong in the ring with Roman Reigns? And LA Knight said, how the Grayson Waller effect sounds like an STD. He got dropped by a Saudi Arabian movie star at Crown Jewel. So you had that happen, yet you had the guts come out and ask if LA Knight belongs in the ring with Roman Reigns? He got his $5 haircut. He's ready for school pictures. But looking at him, he gets a feeling he's not allowed within 50 yards of a school. The creep. He's in hot water now because he's got a match with LA Knight tonight. He was fooling around on the internet. And you can take the boy out of mom's basement, but you can't take mom's basement out of the boy. He tells Grayson he has big incel energy and he should worry because he's going to take every bit of frustration out on him tonight. And then he does a mic shot to the dome and tosses Grayson out of the ring. And then we have the match with Grayson Waller and LA Knight, which was fine. Felt a little long, but did its job. LA Knight gets the win with the BFT. And then, well, first we get video packages from the match with John Cena and Solo Sikoa at Crown Jewel. And we are told that Solo Sikoa will be there next week. And of course, Jimmy Uso's going to backstage to everybody. He ends up saying yeet. And he receives a call. And he goes, no yeet. Guess that was Roman Reigns calling him and correcting him, saying, you don't be saying yeet. But, we'll talk about him in another time. Now, Kevin Owens, though, this time, he was still on commentary. And he was fooling around with the telestrations, basically like analyzing him double knocking out Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, hitting them all with one punch. And basically he's doing all this goofy stuff and being hilarious about it. And then Austin Theory and Grayson Waller then come out and basically poke the bear with Kevin Owens. Because he was told that since he is a commentator tonight and not an in-ring performer, if he puts his hands on performers, he'll get suspended. And then after, doing some things, Kevin Owens says he can take the shove and the water, but they threw the ball at Michael Cole, and he can't take that. And then he chases down Austin Theory and Grayson Waller and beats him down, and he does, in fact, get suspended. They're still giving a spotlight to Grayson and Austin. I would still say, based off of that segment in Denver, it would be cool to do, just to give him a warm-up in case if he is going to wrestle WrestleMania, it would still be cool to do Pat McAfee and The Rock versus Austin Theory, who Pat has history with as well, with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller at Survivor Series. That's why I'm predicting it. They're giving him a spotlight. Kevin Owens can't wrestle them 2-on-1. And if he's suspended, bring in The Rock and Pat McAfee. Again, Survivor Series is a significant show for The Rock. But it probably won't happen. I'm just going a little too big there, but Anyways, after that, we get the main event, which was Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, and Asuka taking on Damage Control's Bayley, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane. The match was what it was, but the story of the match was, so I didn't notice until my wife said something. Bianca was in the match quite a bit. Charlotte tagged in briefly, but then she tagged back in. And then, towards the end of the match, Bianca's about to tag in Asuka. Asuka's reaching. But as soon as Bianca's about to hit the tag, whoop, no cigar. And we're like, uh-oh. And Asuka then gets up on the ring, on the ropes, and then mists Bianca Belair in the face. And then she then gets in the ring and she attacks Bianca. And then she waves Kairi over, and the Kabuki Warriors reunite and hug it out. Then Io joins in the group hug. Then they invite Bayley in too. And then Charlotte, though, gets back in the ring and blasts them with a boot. But then they all beat down on Charlotte, and the match ends in a no contest. And the four of them, Io, Kairi, Asuka, and Bayley, just wreaked havoc. They beat down Bianca. They beat down Charlotte Flair. Shotzi Blackheart came out trying to help out, but she got beaten down too. And Damage Control with now with Kairi Sane and Asuka, that all women's stable is coming true. And basically, this was the heavy tease for the women's War Games match. I think I'd be saying this, but I am very, very excited to see where they go with this women's War Games match. Well, first off, are they going to do 4 or are they going to do 5? And if they do 5, it would be Dakota Kai being the 5th member, but unfortunately Dakota's still hurt. I don't think she'll be ready. Wait, when did she get hurt? I don't think it was that long after WrestleMania when she got hurt. So she could be ready soon. Because they brought her back on the road after Io cashed in on Bianca at SummerSlam. So it's probably not too long, but I don't think Dakota will be ready for War Games. If they did a 5th member, or they kept the women 4-on-4, but they did a 5th member, my prediction is Meiko Satomura. If they're going to build this Japanese heel stable, it'd be very interesting to see Mako Satomura join the group. I know some people said Jade Cargill, but I think Jade Cargill is going to make her in-ring debut at the Royal Rumble at this point. That's my prediction there. I think that it would be interesting because I read somewhere they were going to add a fourth member to this Japanese stable, who, again, they will eventually turn on Bayley. And they said it's not going to be somebody you expect. Because Asuka, I expected, which led to Asuka reverting back to a heel character, even though she had briefly turned face when she was feuding with Io, which I still think they should run that match back, but it's not going to happen for a while since Asuka's with them now. But they said in a report that there's a fourth member joining this group, and it's not who you're thinking it is. Which makes me wonder, again, if that fourth member could in fact be Mako Satomura. Ooh. The final boss? That would be pretty awesome to see Mako Satomura involved in a 4-woman stable. Like, the Black Lotus, like, the new version of the Black Lotus from New Japan, I guess. But yeah, they planted the seeds for them to basically kick Bayley out eventually because, Io created her own group. I don't know what will happen with Dakota Kai. Maybe she'll stick with them, or maybe she'll get booted as well. But the long-term story looks to be Bayley and Io Sky for the women's title at WrestleMania, with the huge possibility of Bayley winning the Rumble match. Which, if that's the case, I'm cool with that. Still wish it was Zoe, but I'm cool with that. I'm okay with Bayley because Bayley's not won a Rumble yet. Like, Becky and Charlotte, I love them both. They've already won Rumble matches. If they really want to do Rhea and Becky at Mania, which they do that, I kind of think Rhea should win that, then have Becky win the Chamber. And have Bayley win the Rumble. Because Bayley has not won a Rumble match yet. Again, the only thing is I saw some little pieces that could help it. I still think, though, there has to be a little more sympathy for Bayley. I know they did the thing where she basically said that, she was trying to help them and not so much herself with this group. And also, of course, the hugs. Teasing maybe the hugger gimmick is coming back. But I think there's got to be some way to build a little more sympathy on Bayley if they are going to turn her face. But we will see, of course, what happens. Now, guys, that's my thoughts on SmackDown this week. Again, I thought it was a great show. One of the strongest episodes of SmackDown we've had in a while. And I gave it a B+. Really great show. I look forward to seeing what the rest of the bill will be. Again, I'm interested also to see who will be the remaining members. There's at least going to be one more member for the babyface team. If it's 4-on-4, I'm going to say Mia Yim. But if they do add fifth members, like I said, for Damage Control, I'm going to say Mako Satomura. For the faces, I'm going to predict the Hex Girls, Isla Dawn and Kaylee Ray. Oh, I'm sorry, Alba Fire. Only because they've been having vignettes lately. So it could be them. Alba Fire was in one of the Women's War Games matches. Either the first or second one she was in. So she has the experience in there. So we'll see, of course, what happens. But those are my picks. If it's just one, I'm going to say Mia Yim. But if it's 5 people they're going to have, then I'm going to say the Hex Girls for the faces, and the heels will get Mako Satomura. Cool. SmackDown got a B+ for me this week. What are your guys' thoughts on this week's episode of SmackDown? Make sure you guys leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. And be sure, as always, to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content to come on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at the Club of the Man 93. And you may also follow me on TikTok and Instagram as well at the Club of the Man 1993. And of course, guys, I have 2 turn alerts to do as well. Again, I believe I'm still 48 subscribers away from 2,000. Again, we'll see if we get it by the end of the year. If not, we'll get it in 2024. So until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Check out my turn alerts as well when they upload as well. Have a great rest of your night. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion. That is a fact of life. Yeah!